Well, good morning, gentlemen. I'm so excited to be joined today by the leaders of two innovative companies in the commercial landscaping and residential landscaping space. Russ from Mirimichi Green, Daniel joining us today from Canada with Ecolawn. I'd love just to begin with each of you introducing yourselves and a little bit about your company and how we got here. So, Russ, would you kick us off today?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Russ Britton. I'm CEO of Mirimichi Green. We're out of Wilmington, North Carolina. But we started this company after I started another company called Eco Express. We became one of the top 10 composting seeding companies in the country. And just got to the point where we just wanted to find the key ingredient of the gnat's tail, as I like to call it, and there are other ways to say that, of compost and organics, and be able to make a product to apply that to sports fields, construction sites, ball fields, golf, what have you, and be very productive with that product. And so we took the knowledge we had in the construction business, and I grew up farming, and we put it in a line of products. Majority of our products are granular soil amendment, really high-end compost with some other additives. And then we set out to find the distributors across the United States, and we're successful doing that. And I'm glad we're on here with the founder of Ecolawn Applicator, because the Ecolawn Applicator played a big role in allowing us to get started. And so I'm just glad to be here, and finally very happy to be able to chat with Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Cote. I'm the CEO of Ecolawn. We're a manufacturing company, manufacturing top dressing machine, compost spreader. I actually started that business from scratch when I was a landscaper myself. I wanted to work outside. I wanted to work physically, so I be oriented on the landscaping business, and my focus was on lawn, and I wanted to do something good. So I see the demand for a more organic way to treat lawn. That was about 25 years ago, and that's how I start a service business. And from there, I could, to be efficient with top dressing compost, I couldn't find any tools. So I actually designed one for my needs and for the service that I was offering, and step by step become more on the manufacturing side.
Mm-hmm. So you and Russ have a similar background as applicators, as folks understanding the benefits of organics and trying to apply these, and struggling to get them out at scale and to do so profitably. So it sounds like a pretty common background there. When you got started building this equipment, was it your intention to grow this into a company selling these products, or were you simply trying to devise machinery for your own landscaping business?
My goal was just to be able to do the work that I was offering. I really believe in compost and compost work, but doing that job with the shovel was not making any sense. So I have to look at different equipment, and I couldn't find anything. And there is a limit where customer can pay compost work. That's a fact. But speed of execution and to be profitable, I need to do the job in a quick time to make enough profit to grow my business. So that's how it goes.
So Russ, you came from sort of the commercial side of things with large Department of Transportation projects where you're doing miles and miles of work along highways, things like that, with massive blower trucks. So you're used to spreading a lot of material at scale, but when you developed the initial products with Mirimichi Green, started looking at residential applications, smaller areas, those economics didn't really work. So you were looking for something where you could have the convenience of spreading that you were used to with these big, very expensive machines like blower trucks, and somehow you found Ecolawn. Tell us a little bit about that. How does Ecolawn compare to, you know, of all the applications, big and small? Where does the Ecolawn fit in?
It fits very nicely for our target market at this time, for most, you know, for the landscaper, like per se, or the college campus. But yeah, you know, I went back to my farm roots at first, and, you know, big tractors, manure spreader, you know, give me some land, and, you know, there's a lot of equipment out there. And I had several express blower trucks, Peterson blower trucks, and, you know, they kept saying, you know, showing up in the Northwest where you could apply compost to a yard. And I'm like, man, that's just kind of too big of a, you know, that's a very expensive piece of equipment to be doing somebody's yard. I mean, I found out early on it was better to be on a big landfill or something and have the truck wide open. And then it was funny, Daniel, appreciate this. After a while, our guys got used to leaving the blower wide open. So I'd go have somebody want to do some mulch or compost a yard, and they'd call me like, there's compost on the windows, it's on the porch. I mean, they learned that, you know, to get a truck let off as fast as possible, so, you know, so it could be profitable. So I can't really put my finger on when I first heard about Ecolawn applicator, but it was very early on. And so we ordered one, and it was just perfect. I mean, I think within 2 or 3 months, I was visiting Live Nation, you know, with their headquarters, you know, showing how they could top dress their facilities across the country, you know, with an organic, and so they could build up these soils. We didn't have a national distribution at the time, so, you know, they said, hey, come back to us when you have national distribution. But, you know, to have a piece of equipment that you could, you know, basically fit on any piece of, you know, a landscaper's repertoire, you know, a smaller trailer in the back of a truck, per se. And it was very mobile. And if you want to get in somebody's backyard, if you want to get through the gate, around the pool, it was really easy to control the spread of the product. And so, you know, it just became real handy. And so, you know, we still use them to this day. I mean, I think we've got one right now running out on a solar farm for my other company, where we go up under the panels, and our bigger spreader won't fit. So it's just a great tool in our arsenal.
So I think what I'd love to hear your thoughts on is for those that are watching this and trying to decide if they should consider an investment in an Ecolawn, how does it fit in to all of the options available? Because you're both focused on, for specific applications, we built this to be so that you as a landscaper can do this work profitably. So what size jobs, what applications are really best suited for the Ecolawn? Because Russ, obviously you still have blower trucks doing miles and miles of DOT work. So, you know, it's not engineered for that. So, you know, maybe this is a better question for Daniel. What are the sort of extents of the jobs where it really is, you know, the Ecolawn excels, where it shines the most, and where the profit is highest, given the way you've engineered it in terms of capacity and cost and everything else?
From my point of view, this machine, the Ecolawn, let's talk about the 250. It's designed for you know, a lawn of size 5,000 to 30,000 square feet lawn. It's very efficient because it's fast. Time is money. So the way we see it, time is money. So, and when you spread with smaller equipment, you have low compaction. Everybody knows the benefit of compost, or what compost does to the lawn, but it has to be efficient when you do it. It has to be even on the ground. You don't want to put too much on one side or none on this side. You don't want to do overlap to cover everywhere. So, you know, spreading has to be very even. And I think that's what people like about Ecolawn, the way it's a simple tool, simple design, and it's very efficient and fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Daniel, I'd like to add to that. It's and also the price point is good for a landscaper. I mean, I've come across a couple of bigger, more. There was one piece of equipment, and it, it was about twice as big, kind of complicated. And I guess with somebody could use that, but some of the versatility was lost, and and the price point, because if you want to get into something, you could be an owner operator, obviously, but if you obviously there are a lot of landscapers that have different, 4 or 5 crews, and for someone to pick up and start putting organics on lawn, this is very affordable to be able, I mean, a Ventrac lawn application, Ventrac machine or something, a little bit bigger to do prep work and stuff. I mean, you could buy 4 or 5 of these, for the price of that one piece of equipment. And I just like that price point and size just really benefits us and most landscapers that we're talking to across the country through our distributors.
Mhm.
Well, let's talk about price point. Daniel, I know that you've been dealing with inflation like everybody else. So tell us more about the challenges you're currently facing on the company side, and how you're addressing some of those.
I would say one of our biggest challenge was to build a team, because behind the production, there's people work. You have to find dedicated people, qualified people, and to have a vision for long term. So that was the biggest challenge we had in-house for us. And the other challenge was to be able to, you have a good machine now, you have to show the machine and demonstrate the machine. This is how we promote Ecolawn. You have to see it in action. You have to see it to understand how simple and quick the job will be done. And this is something that a landscaper really like about the machine. You can adjust most of the adjustment with the 9 and 16 keys. And for that reason, people are very confident with the machine. They'll go look on social media, and they're very proud when they have one. They put some stuff on the what they do at Ecolawn, and you can tell we're very proud of that. But challenge was to get a good team on the production to be able to meet the demand.
And are you currently meeting demand, or is there still more demand for the product than
there's still more demand, and as you probably know, we sell in about 40 countries now, and
Wow.
that's still growing. We're very proud of that.
So during the pandemic in particular, we had lots of folks that we introduced on the Mirimichi Green side of things to the Ecolawn. One of our products, the carbonized PN, is a fantastic product, but really should be spread with a belt-driven top dresser. Folks that are trying to sling it out by shovel or chicken feed it, are in for a lot of work. So we've really been promoting and recommending the Ecolawn. And during the pandemic, several folks reported trouble getting one. They were so popular, supply chain, getting engines and things. Has that all more or less been resolved by now, or is that still a concern? If I'm looking for an Ecolawn today as a landscaper, what should I expect? Should I be able to get one this year? Is there a 6-month waiting list? Tell me about that.
We have them in stock, no worries. That's why I focus on my team. And when during the pandemic, we saw the demand increase. And at the same time, we had a hard time to find, engines and parts. And so we redesign our layout. We connect with lots of new suppliers to be able to get all the parts that we need. And that was a really big challenge. And the main thing was to keep the price point, like Russ was saying. You cannot just always raise price and expect people to buy it. Those guys have to make money on it. And this is one of our main focus, to keep our price attractive.
So I'd love to talk a little bit more about the price. Two questions really related to price. One, is there sort of a a recommended number of applications or a certain dollar figure that you're telling your buyers, you need to plan to deliver, a certain volume or certain amount of service per year for this to make it pay, to make it profitable? Have you done that math, for them, or do you have any guidance on that? And the second question is related: are the buyers that are interested guys that have not been doing top dressing applications before, interested in getting into it, or are they landscapers that have been doing it the hard way and they know how much labor it is, they know how hard it is, and then they're the ones coming? How much do we need to do to be profitable with Ecolawn, and which segment is coming to you the most?
For the price point, we always recommend that landscapers should charge 3 to 5 times the product that they pay. So, for example, if they apply 10 cubic yards and they pay $30 a cubic yards, they have to charge 3 to 5 times, depending on different factor. But basically, this is what we recommend. I don't know if Russ can maybe talk about the pricing point as well with the Mirimichi.
No, I totally agree. I mean, with both companies, I found 3 times. We always try to get 4, pushes us to go to the higher markets. And I always tell landscapers, if you want that 4 times, find the customers that'll pay for it, but you're gonna have to do a little extra, a little bit more cleanup, maybe communicate a little bit more to your customer.
Exactly.
Sit down with them, put a plan together, and what I'm talking about. Those customers, of yours, those landscapers, that pays off tremendously, and you get paid for that extra effort. So I'm right with you.
And these landscapers are typically folks trying to add top dressing to their service offering for the first time, or they tend to be folks that have been top dressing and it's too much work, too much labor, and they're not happy with the profitability? Is it? I'm sure it's a mix, but which group comes calling more?
What I can say, it's most of the people will top dress, will do some turf renovation, some will do seeding with the establish new lawn. So there is different option that you can do. Some will apply lime, some guys will apply sand. It's a multi-purpose spreader, and you have different type of job that you can do with it. It's not just one thing, and this is I believe that's very help landscapers to make profit with the machine.
Right, and whether it's raining or not too. Moisture. A lot of guys start depending on really dry material. If it's a little bit wetter, the Ecolawn applicator handles that variance, and also with sand too. A lot of top dressing with sand.
So what I understand is sort of the natural progression for folks that are interested in buying Ecolawn are landscapers that have added these services already: seeding, top dressing, spreading sand, and then they're looking for, how do I do that more profitably? How do I do that and increase the scale? And then they find their way to Ecolawn at that point. Russ, one of the things that we say about the Carbon XPN, which is blend of 50% premium compost, 50% inoculated biochar, is that if you look at the recommended rates, they're about 10 times less than your standard off-the-shelf compost. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, because one of the things that Daniel said earlier was, this is all about efficiency. Well, if you're saying you can apply 10 times less product, that's a big feather in the cap of efficiency. I've got to transport less product. I have to unload less product. Tell me a little bit about the product and how you can make a claim like that, because that's the recommended rate on the bag, either for install or maintenance. It's about 10 times less material than if you were using a standard bulk compost.
Yeah, great question. To understand my answer a little bit better, we were doing an inch compost on many acres, and we're doing that for erosion control for a lot. We did a lot of work on slopes, and obviously our product is not going to hold up like compost, 10 times the amount of mass on a slope. it's just not going to have the same effect. Also, making it absorb, the water absorb into a slope, you have to break that the energy from the rain, and then it could be absorbed in. 1-inch compost can absorb like 3/4 of an inch of rain, over an hour's time, and you don't have any runoff. So the bulk is good. But going back to our farming roots, my goal is to make an amendment that can be used in ag, and we had to get down to the nitty gritty. And Daniel can appreciate this. When we were out using 5,000 cubic yards of compost on a project, it's not always easy to find very consistent product. The one way to get real consistent product is take a certain feedstock and continue to mature it. Get a very low carbon to nitrogen ratio. Savita rating goes up, so you can have better uptake. More concentrated, and that takes time and money with compost. And so we had a process and trick to get there a little bit faster than I believe most of the industry has. And then you take the biochar, which, one of the big things in ag and turf is to keep things aerobic and not anaerobic. So the biochar helps in that perspective. And also the biology growth. If you have biology in the soil, and the carbon will stay there a long time. So when you really start looking at that activeness on how it made the grass perform and the biology counts, that's where you start coming into our product is very potent. And we have nothing against compost. There are all kinds of compost, whether it's a feedstock of yard waste, if it's from a municipality that has biosolids. You have different sources in that arena, and it's all good. But what we're looking for something that's more efficiency. Efficiency is a great thing. So we're also building greens for golf, and we want to get all that. We want to make sure we had a product wasn't going to break down anymore and cause any noxious gases and so forth. So we just want to make the best, take the best out of compost, put it in the bag. And what that happens is that then you can serve more customers. More, you can hit more accounts if you're putting out 4 bags a yard instead of 2 cubic yards. So it's nothing wrong with using compost. I mean, there's some issues that we could go into. If put too much bulk in the south, there's some thatch issues in certain regions. There's certain zoysia that already has an issue, building thatch on top of each other. So, but if somebody wants to be real efficient, we think we've got the prize in that. And the long-term benefits of the biology and the home for biology, and you're not really robbing anything. You really don't have anything else more to break down and rob the nitrogen in the soil. It becomes a giver on day one. So it's efficiency of scale. We think we cracked that nut, and I think Daniel, a lot of his customers have seen that. And but if you got sugar sand and your goal number one is from day one is to hold more water on day one, you may want to go with just your local compost, and then as they go along, you go maybe put a little bit of hours in it and kind of spike the compost. So it's really it's trial and error, I think, in each zone, and it's a preference as well.
Excellent, great question. So at the end of the day, the takeaway and the reason really that we're talking today is you're both focused on building profitable, efficient solutions for landscapers. Mm-hmm. Daniel's and his company and team have developed the equipment to do that. Russ, your company and team have developed a product aimed at that same goal. You put them together, and some really exciting things can happen for our landscapers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else either of you'd like to add before we end the chat today?
No, I mean, I'll just say thank Daniel for doing what he's doing. I always go back to as a kid growing up with my father on the farm, and NC State said, put more starter fertilizer on that tobacco, put more fertilizer on everything, and he go, whoa. Let me just amend let me take care of my soil. Let's adjust the moisture. Let's grind up the clippings from the year before of the wheat before we plant the tobacco. And he just saw just big results of reincorporating organics into the soil and taking care of his land. And he just didn't know about this. I think, you know, a few years into Eco Express being started, you know, we got on a conversation. It's like, if you, you know, had the organics from around all the farms and clippings and spread it, you know, I think you can put 30 cubic yards on an acre of land, and it would take care of the liming for like 20 years or something. It's a, you know, some equation. He's like, I'd love to have gotten rid of all those lime trucks, you know, and so and did something to the soil that was longer lasting than, you know, some synthetic or something you put out a quick fix. So anyhow, I think we're both just trying to bring that knowledge and what that can do for a soil to the end users. And I'm just glad we got a chance to get on the call and chat. And Daniel, I hope we can talk more in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, gents.
Russ, I agree with Russ. You know, taking care of the soil is the key. And any growing can be lawn, can be other stuff, but the soil is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well said. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time today. We appreciate it very much.